Hi, and welcome to this video about the future of data storytelling. In this presentation, we will talk about technical capabilities of AI-powered techniques. In the previous video, we saw that artificial intelligence learns to recognize patterns that link type of inputs to desired outputs listed in the training data used for the artificial neural network. The role of the training data is very important because any error or imbalance in the data affect the use of the artificial intelligence itself. Some of these imbalances are often derived from biases within the data that reflect biases of our society. Achieving bias-free artificial intelligence software requires correcting, curating, and rebalancing the training data. Generative neural networks, my favorite, are able to create new digital content, for example, images, inspired by the training dataset, and can be driven in a variety of ways, as numerical input or an image. Or again, we saw how textual input can be used to guide the generation of new images. One of the most modern technologies is diffusion models, which can create images of high quality and variety using a step-by-step noise reduction process. But what are the technical capabilities of generative AI? What follows is a list of capabilities related to diffusion models. These capabilities can be found in many of the software present today, each having its own training dataset that determines the aesthetics and quality of the images it generates. We will see the list of some of the most popular software later in this video. The first capability we have already mentioned is creating new images from text. The appearance and quality of these images depends on the training data used. Given each prompt, it is possible to generate many different images thanks to the diffusion model that can start from several initial noises and then perform the noise reduction process step by step. Each initial noise allows the generation of a different image driven by the input text. In addition to text, it is possible to drive the generation using other types of input, as in this example, where a colored sketch was used to drive the generation of a dinosaur. The result respects the shapes of the original proposed scene and generates the detail consistent with the input text. Again, many images can be generated from the same inputs, simply by varying the initial random noise of the diffusion model. Also in this example, it is possible to drive the generation with different inputs in addition to the text. Firstly, a human pose is used to generate an image with the same pose of an astronaut. In the second example, we see a depth mask to generate images that respect the 3D scene. Or again, a pencil sketch drives the generation of different views of a room. Instead of using text, it is also possible to use an existing image to guide the generation of other images. In this case, the content to be generated is not driven by the meaning of a text, but only by a neural network's interpretation of the input image. This technique is used to create variations of an existing image. Thanks to this technique, it is also possible to create variations driven by two input images. In fact, as seen earlier, multiple inputs can be used to guide the diffusion process. The results will have to respect the guidance of all the elements used. But what if, instead of giving equal weight to all the driving elements, they are used with different importance during the generation? By making a weighted average of the different inputs, it is possible to generate variations closer to one input than to the other. In this way, different variations can be generated between two inputs, changing the weight assigned from time to time. And here we come to one of the most powerful capabilities of diffusion models, called in-painting or replace. This capability involves selecting the area within an input image where the diffusion process is to take place, leaving the rest of the source image untouched. Through text, generation is guided to create or modify content within this image. The most interesting part of this process is that the artificial intelligent model understands and respects the context present in the rest of the image. In fact, in the current example, selecting the area within this room and guiding the generation with the term flamingo creates an inflatable flamingo on the water. Selecting an area outside the windows instead generates a real flamingo. Of course, one could add more detail to the text to choose what kind of result to achieve, and even then, the model would respect the context in terms of lighting, colors, style, and perspective of the source image. This capability can also be used to create content in areas outside the image. This process is called outpainting. The next capability I want to present you is the ability to transform an entire picture as an input by using text. In this example, the Milan Cathedral is transformed entirely by using this prompt. And thanks to this capability, it is also possible to create a semantic mixing of picture. As an example, this telephone is transformed by using prompt and create an augmented design. So this is very useful for brainstorming in creativity processes by trying to mix different design ideas. Moreover, it is possible to add a negative prompt to the inputs of diffusion models in order to tell the artificial intelligence to go away from a certain concepts. This is very useful when you try to generate some kind of concepts or scenario, but you don't want some element to be part of the results generated. And another capability is to create video by using only text. This is possible by generate the first image and then iterate to generate the subsequent frames of the video by using both as an input the text and the previous frame of the video. And we already saw another example in the previous video with the Strolling City project. In addition to the capabilities of diffusion models, there are other models that use artificial neural network to generate new content. Those models are based on transformers. Transformers are composable artificial neural network that try to encode an input to an intermediate representation and then decode the input to produce a new digital content as an output. Usually, these generative transformers required a lot of training with a large amount of data. As an example, the recent ChatGPT 4 model required 1 year to collect and train the model by using a lot of text collected from internet. Moreover, a reinforcement learning where people had evaluated the results of the neural network and a further step of training is performed based on the human feedback is performed for 6 additional months. In this way, it was possible to release this very complex model, able to generate a new text component, new text digital content based on input text. And this is ChatGPT. I think all of you have already tried. As you may understand, the content creation and the storytelling is changed with respect to the past. In particular, different scientists proved that with respect to the time employed in the past for the composition of a content, of a new digital content, nowadays, generative AI allow to focus on the idea and the research of new digital content, while the composition is made easy by generative AI. So we can say that generative AI empower not only the creativity process, but also the composition process to leave space to the idea and the distribution of new contents. And now let's see a list of tools that you can use to generate new digital content for data storytelling. The first one is ChatGPT. You can insert your questions into the chat box and receive different answers. And as we learned, we can regenerate responses many times by using the same input until you are satisfied with the new content generated. This tool was released by OpenAI, a company that is very active in the field of generative AI and artificial intelligence in general. Another tool from the same company is DALL-E 2. This tool is able to generate new images from text. Of course, the aesthetics depends from the data set that OpenAI employed to train the AI model. And in this tool, you can try to play with image generation, but also in painting and out painting of a single image, and you can obtain image variations. Another very widely used tool is Midjourney. Midjourney is very popular due to his training on photorealistic image and its quality in generating new images starting from text. Moreover, you can use other image to drive the generation, and you can select a lot of different inputs and parameters by passing them through a chat within the Discord application. Also, Microsoft released a new version of Bing where you can generate both new text and new images. Moreover, Bing is able to generate new text also based on internet research and online researches, so that you can obtain generated content that reflects recent events. Adobe released a beta software of Photoshop where generative AI is widely introduced. Moreover, Adobe Firefly collects a lot of different capabilities inside one tool in order to provide artists with the ability to perform different actions. In this tool, we can find in-painting, out-painting, but also generation based on multiple inputs, such as the depth map and a prompt for new images, and also other functionalities well integrated with the Adobe suite. Runway is a company that releases a lot of different professional tools where you can try and play with most of the capability we saw in this video. Moreover, you can play both with images and videos. Another generative AI tool that allows to mix several images and text input into the results is Image Mixer. In this tool, you can select multiple inputs and the weight used to guide the transformation for each of these inputs. Lexica is another tool. This is very interesting because in this tool, you can start from generation performed by other users and take inspirations by the different prompts used to generate a specific style or a specific aesthetic. Then you can change the prompt and generate a new image. You can also upload your photo to guide the generation of new images. The next tool is DreamStudio by Stability AI. And this tool used Stable Diffusion as main diffusion model, and it allows you to play with the number of diffusion steps you want to use in generating your images and other interesting settings. Stable Diffusion is an AI model that became very popular thanks to this open source nature. One of the oldest tools is Artbreeder. Artbreeder started with generative adversarial neural network and then introduced also diffusion model technology. In this tool, you can generate images and play with different settings, and also you can transform some sketches to photorealistic images. Night Cafe Studio is also interesting because it allows you to play with different artificial intelligence models, also belonging to other scene companies. And finally, ReDraw is one of our tools we presented to empower the creativity by exploring a lot of different artistic styles. And we are both a playable mobile version and a professional web application with a lot of different AI capabilities. Now it's time to conclude this video to leave space to the next one, where we will explore different application and real case studies that employ the capability of AI-powered storytelling technique. Thank you.